Hi, my name is Dan Joseph. We're making a series of articles and videos on democracy, which raises the question, why should you care what I say about democracy? Someone with a career in business. Well, there are a few reasons, and they start here, China, where I lived for 10 years and have been involved for more than 20. But here's the key. Mostly in places foreigners have never heard of. Old school China, industrial China, factories, so many factories. I managed factories, built factories, dealt with so many factories. And in my case, a few coal mines as well. And then, of course, there were the banquets. So many banquets for business. And, of course, the banquets lead to the drinking. So much drinking. I would argue that if you can't explain the cultural implications of Chinese drinking traditions, you don't really know China. Still, you say, so what? What's the big deal about living in China? Well, that brings us to this man, Next DeToqueville. You ever heard of him? If you're at all interested in democracy, you should know who he is because he wrote one of the most influential books ever written about America or democracy. See, DeToqueville was a mid-level French government official sent to America in 1830 to investigate its prisons. But he went on to spend many months touring the country, observing everyday America, paying particular attention to the American people, their customs, values, attitudes, and behavior, their culture, which he then analyzed from the perspective of democracy. He focused on the benefits of not having an aristocracy in America and how that impacted attitudes towards freedom, equality, work, such things. DeToqueville pioneered the idea that when considering political systems, we should think about the people, not just the leaders or the institutions. DeToqueville opened a whole new branch of political science and sociology. And now, even though you may not have heard of some of these ideas, there's actually a fair amount of scholarship on this subject. For example, this is a great book. A group of social scientists conducting cultural surveys around the world for 40 years. Their conclusions are fascinating and worth understanding. I actually made a short documentary film that won a few awards with one of the founders of this group. The problem is, while this perspective is highly credible, it isn't well known yet. And that's where I come in. You see, DeToqueville and I share one critical attribute: direct, hands-on, cultural experience that is extremely rare yet highly relevant to democracy. Such experience can be hard to get in other occupations, but when you're managing people, doing what managers do, the cultural differences, well, they kind of hit you right in the head. Now, we normally ignore culture, or worse yet, we trivialize it. Who cares about this kind of stuff? But cultural differences actually relate to some extremely critical attributes and behaviors. And perhaps most importantly, culture changes. People aren't always the same over time, and this is critical to understanding countries like China and how democracy develops. My experience in China changed my view of the world, and I guarantee if you read and watch our series on democracy, you will hear and learn things you probably never heard before, which might just change how you see things like democracy as well. This is Dan Joseph for the Global Dashboard. Thanks for watching.